Hey guys, Rand here. Spanish American Heritage Month. Spanish wrestlers you should know. Sponsored by Premier Pro Wrestling and PPW Live. And my happy ass is not going to stop about Cassandro, man. Really, like I says, I know the guy. I went to Mexico City in 2007, probably between 2007 and 2008, for a couple of reasons. I'd been in touch with Dorian Roldan. Dorian is the actual true owner of AAA Lucha Libre, what they call AAA Lucha Libre worldwide now, I guess. And I was trying to hit him up for a couple of things. My first idea was to keep them on Galavision, which is owned by Televisa, in the United States where they were. They had 2 hours of television on Saturdays and 2 hours of television on Sundays, okay? And what I wanted to propose was that they merely offer the program in SAP, meaning that the viewer going to Galavision would have the choice. This would draw in more gringos to watch because they could understand what was going on. Then what I wanted to do then was, this was before any of the networks were, before the, like WWE Network was prominent, where wrestling streaming was kind of in its infancy, maybe even been just not much beyond an idea. I wanted Triple Mania to be a huge thing because I think that if gringos or the American-speaking or English-speaking world could understand Triple Mania, Triple A's version of WrestleMania would be just probably almost as big. You've got so many Spanish Americans in the market to this day. Even 2023 is horribly unplayed to, in my opinion, So I thought that would be a hit. The other thing was that down in Mexico, AAA, for example, produces a magazine called Dos de Tres, 2 out of 3. It's a great magazine, and since this is made in Mexico, it's really produced so cheaply. I'm just going to go ahead and say that because I'm looking for a nice word, but fuck it. The bottom line is it's produced a lot cheaper than it would be in the United States, and I was looking for the rights to distribute that magazine here in the United States. If you go to your Walmart or any of your stores, as a matter of fact, today what you usually find in the magazine aisle is a lot of Latinos going through the magazines and in the magazine aisles. About some of these publications are even available anymore, so I really consider that to be a winner. Now, I believe I ingratiated myself quite a bit with Dorian Roldan, but Dorian Roldan and his father is like the CEO or CFO. He does a lot of the operations, and I think that in all actuality, Dorian is not going to make any decisions or choices, or the major ones, on his own, as long as his father's around. And what his father does for AAA obviously works. You know what I'm saying? Because he was the right hand to the original owner of AAA, So, that being said, what ended up happening is they wanted me to come down and be the production manager for their television because they wanted AAA, their television, to be more scripted. And I was just left, or had just left TNA Impact when it was on Spike, and I would have been a good guy for that. But the issue was, at the time, it might have been 07, guys. There's no way I could have moved to Mexico City and done that job. But I understood, because Dorian's father, Antonio Pena, AAA's original owner's brother-in-law, had a lot of trust issues with gringos, with Americans, which was fully understandable, which is very painful to not have been able to struck that kind of deal. If I was younger, and I didn't have a family then and the responsibilities and all that, it would have been a great opportunity, but I just couldn't do it. So that being said, when I went down there, they had scheduled a television taping in Veracruz. And it was really freaking cool, because what they end up doing is they load up a bus with all the talent, and the talent takes a bus, the majority of the talent takes a bus from Mexico City to Veracruz. And that ends up being like 9 hours and change bus ride, which is a pain in the ass. But I'm glad I did it because I got to see parts of Mexico that gringos don't get to see. Someday I'll go into more detail about it, being able to see all I saw from the inside. But let's get back to Cassandro. So, after the taping and after 2 9.5-hour bus rides, we're pulling back into Mexico City, and it was horrifying, the traffic, trying to get back into Mexico City, getting back into where the office was, where they were dropping us off. And it was kind of funny because my friend Hector Moody Melendez from Puerto Rico had came in, and he had just started doing the video production for AAA. And you could see AAA. You could see the difference in quality of that television when Moody was helping edit the TV. He stayed down there for quite a while. But outside of the fact that we were so exhausted, man. I mean, everybody was exhausted. I thought to myself, how in the hell do these guys do this? This was like I'm a guy who drove 3,000 miles a week, and wrestled 8 times a week for 6 weeks and then got a Sunday off in Memphis. I was effing bushed after that ride. So everybody is so well behaved. There was a huge language barrier for me. And the only one that really spoke to me in all that time was Moody, because Moody, could speak English and speaks English very well, even though he's from Puerto Rico. We start to get loopy because of the tiredness, In the Exoticos at the time, and the most famous Exotico at the time, was Cassandro. And Cassandro was there. He was on the AAA roster, and I got to see, how over this guy was. And he was a babyface then, which is hilarious to me in Mexico, especially how far the people had come, with Exoticos. But he was with a couple other younger Exoticos. I don't remember the exact storyline, but I think it was tag team, babyface Exoticos, heel Exoticos, and Cassandro was the babyface Exotico. And at the end of it all, he finally goes to Moody as we were getting off the bus. Hey, ask your friend if he wants to go out for drinks tonight with us girls, And it's funny because when I was in Puerto Rico, I didn't know Spanish, I don't know Spanish, man. I can't learn Spanish. I was in Puerto Rico for so long. They say that I'm not stupid because even Mexicans can't understand Puerto Rican Spanish. But I says, I'll be fine as long as I know the following. Pollo, that way I could eat. Agua, that way I could stay hydrated. And then I could never get into trouble if I knew this. Mamis sí, papis no. And I said that shit 3 years before this happened. When Cassandro said that, I said, this is a great opportunity. I'm going to take a shot and see what happens. And I go, Mami sí, papis no. And the whole bus just lost their shit, man, laughing their ass off, including Cassandro, who I just really love the fact that he had such a great sense of humor during that. And I think he even complimented me now that I'm looking back, and he says, ask Lorenzo Lamas if he wants to go out for drinks with me and the girls tonight. And I thought that was great. And I was in no way, shape, or form homophobic or insulted or creeped out or anything, man. I was fucking exhausted, I don't know how the fuck anybody's going to go out after those 2 long days in a row, I was pushed to my limit, and I was still a reasonably young guy. So anyway, guys, so now I'm going to tell you a whole hell of a lot more about the Exotico culture, Exoticos and Lucha, the history of Exoticos, what Exotico actually fucking means. And then we're going to spill it into on PPW Live, putting over Cassandro some more, Again, it's being brought to you commercial free on YouTube. Hopefully you learn some stuff. Hopefully you've been entertained, so that's worth your time. Go ahead and look in the description. I guarantee you I'm going to bring up some outstanding fucking points that things you never heard of and things you probably never thought about. I don't think anybody online is really, as far as all these goofy podcasts go, covering the history like this. And Exotico is just an amazing, amazing part of the lucha culture since the 1940s, Don't forget, subscribe, PPW Live. Check out Premier Pro Wrestling's revenue stream, our official merchandise shop. Premier Pro Wrestling on Pro Wrestling Tees.